neighbors. I'm Melissa Fassel Dunn with the Milton Scene, and I am here today at the Ashmont Grill having lunch with Mike Lynch from Milton Access TV, and we just want to talk to you about a super important issue to Milton citizens. So, Mike, there's the possibility of the FCC taking away some funding that would affect Milton Access TV. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah, sure, Melissa. So let's start from the beginning. So in Milton, we have Public Access TV, as you know,
Right.
And it's a free service for the residents of Milton. How Public Access TV started was there was a Cable Act written in 1984, which basically said that if a cable company wants to come in to a town or a city and provide a service that they're going to charge for, they are obligated to pay the town up to 5% of their revenue for the use of the right-of-way. And what that money was intended for, it was for PEG operation, which is what we are today.
And what's PEG?
Public Education and Government TV.
Okay.
So in Milton, we have 3 channels. One's public, one's education, one's government. So you see your town meetings, you see your high school graduations, you see your show.
Right.
So that's what PEG is. So what the FCC is trying to do now is to reduce that funding. So the cable companies are now complaining and saying that this obligation is breaking their bank, which we know it's not. But
right. Cable companies, they have no money, right?
Right. So they are saying it's breaking the bank, they can't do it anymore. Okay. So what the FCC is proposing to do is to say, all right, we're going to give you up to the 5% of our revenues, but we're going to start deducting what it costs to run that station.
Okay, so they're giving the money and then they want to just take it right back and maybe even more?
Correct.
Okay.
So what they want to do is they're going to say, okay, Milton, so you have 3 channels. It costs you $300,000 to run those channels. Here's your bill. And in some cities and towns, that could actually be a bill that would put the station in the negative to say, all right, well, you get $300,000 in funding, but we're going to charge you $350,000 in funding.
So you might actually get a bill.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And not to confuse people, but the crazy part is that this is not federal money. This is not money that comes from the town. It's money that comes from you, from the cable subscribers. So the cable subscribers are paying for PEG. Right. It's like a pass-through. Right. But the cable companies are still saying, oh, poor me, we can't afford this anymore.
So, and approximately, like, about how much money is that on our bill? It's a huge amount, right?
It's about $4 a month.
$4 a month. Gotcha.
Yeah. It varies between city and town, depending upon what the cable company is on the hook for the percentage, but it's usually about $4.
Okay, gotcha. So, and now let's just back up for a second because you guys have so much important programming. Can you tell us a little bit more about what we would be losing if we didn't have Milton Access TV?
Sure. Well, first off, I mean, I think that we are very lucky in Milton that people are very involved in the democratic process and they like seeing their town meetings and their government meetings. So think about sitting at home and watching those meetings when you don't want to go at night.
Or you can't.
Or you can't.
Right.
Gone. One thing that I've been talking a lot about is that we, and people don't really think about it, but we sort of act as like historians and documentarians. Yeah. So recently, or a few years ago, we had the 350th anniversary of Milton, and we were there all 3 days capturing every minute of every event. And we put it into the time capsule that's now at the library. So we are capturing events that most people don't. Right. Some examples, not with Milton, but I just learned, or I've known, but there was the gas explosion in the Lawrence Valley, the Merrimack Valley, Massachusetts. Mm-hmm. Well, the press conferences were there and all the major news networks carry it, but they go and they get their 5-minute little segment and they leave. But what do you see at the end of that? Public Access TV. We streamed the Bernie Sanders rally when he came to town. Again, these news networks come and just get their little snippet for the night news, but then we are there covering the whole event.
Which is amazing, and it's something I hadn't thought of either.
Right. So it's that. It's, high school graduations. I mean, we provide free DVD copies to the seniors, and then family members can purchase them at a very low price.
And you stream them as well. So,
right.
Relatives who are far away, that sort of thing.
Right. High school sports. Mm-hmm. We've captured a lot of the championship games that have happened in Milton. Plays, lectures. I mean, it's really anything that you can see on our channels would cease to exist if this goes through.
Okay, so that's really depressing. That's really
Yes.
Depressing. Great.
Yeah.
So, knowing that it can be super hard for people to attend the public meetings, and all of this other great programming too. I mean, we have we have my show, but we have also so many shows where the citizens of town are providing their talent. I mean, there's the cooking show and there's the Oscar show and all the sports shows. So we get to showcase citizens. So, okay, so that's gone. The meetings are gone. The graduations are gone. The special events like the Bernie Sanders rally or whatever, they're all gone. All right, so now what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? Is there a way right now? So the funding is still in place now.
Yep, so the funding everything is as it is right now. Right. This proposed rule that is going through the FCC, there's no time frame on it. There's no end date. There's no really knowing when it's going to happen.
So it's like limbo land currently.
Correct. And we don't know what the rule is going to look like. We know that the one of the aspects of the rule is to assign a fair market value to our channels, which has never been assigned before. Mm-hmm. And it's up to the cable companies to decide that.
Wait, time out. They get to decide your fair market value?
Correct.
Okay, that sounds unfair, but carry on.
Yeah. So once the rule is put into place, and then we have there's certain timelines as when the rule is in place, when it gets into the register, when it comes into effect. The initial thought is anywhere between like 30 to 70% of funding would be eliminated. So there are, I'm not saying that when the FCC order goes through and on the day it becomes effective that the stations are going to go black. Mm-hmm. But it is, the programming that we offer would have to reevaluate what we're going to do with a 70% dip in funding.
So right now, while this hasn't happened yet, is there, I think there's a petition out there. Is there anything that people watching this can do right now to, help?
Yes, and I'd like to, and I should say thank you to all the residents that already have written. Mm-hmm. With the proposed rule at the FCC, there's a public comment period that goes into place. Okay. That did end at the end of last year, but we did have many residents write in. I remember. The selectmen wrote a letter of opposition. All of our congressional senators and representatives have written letters. There is a petition going on. I won't say it on camera. We'll put it at the bottom of the screen, but please continue to write on that petition, to sign it. And it's really an open-ended petition. You can just say why you love public access TV. It could be anything, right. And then, we had gone on a huge campaign to contact our congressmen and our representatives who have all now responded. Mm-hmm. My thought now is that if you have friends from other states that have connections with other congressional reps, that'd be a good idea. Okay. Because in Massachusetts, we're very lucky, and we have the most community access centers in state across the country. Mm-hmm. So people here really do value public access TV. Yes. So Massachusetts, we're covered. Everyone is in support of us. We really need to get support from out of state and really, I hate to say it, but across party lines to maybe get some more support for the opposition.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. So everybody just call who you know. Call who you know. And now my other question is, heaven forbid the change does go through. What can we do then? I mean, I know the people of this town, I know that they're going to want to see Milton Access TV stay around and provide the valuable services that you guys have been providing for a long time. So say we have to deal with this cut. What are some creative ways that you guys have thought of, trying to get more funding? And what can citizens do?
Right. So, one thing, we're still trying to figure that out, because we're kind of in limbo. We don't know what it's going to look like. Right. But, one thing I'd like people to really think about is that $4 part of your bill. Because I know that cable is declining and the way that people watch cable is changing, but it's still here and you still need the content. So how much, that $60 a year, that $4 a month or $5 a month, I mean, if that's valuable to you, I'd say consider donating to Milton Access TV. Mm-hmm. We're looking at different types of legislation we might be able to pass in Massachusetts that might, generate a new tax that would save public access TV. Okay. We're looking at the possibility of stripping away what programs we could do without just to keep maybe the government meeting coverage going. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's really to think about, what public access means to you and if you'd be willing to, sort of donate to the cause, right. Because I know that when we launched our online service, a few years ago, it took off. I mean, everyone watches it online.
It's what everyone does right now,
right?
Right? We can binge watch Milton Access TV.
Yeah, you can.
We can binge watch town meeting, and it's just so wonderful, and it's such a valuable service. But when you think about it, like $4 a month.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's
And
one coffee, not even.
right, and that's why we don't. I just don't really understand why this rule is being proposed, and why the cable companies are pushing so hard that they're out of money. I mean, if you think about your $4 part of your bill, but your bill is $160, that the rest of the money is going to them. So
exactly.
yeah.
But at least it sounds like you've thought of some creative ways to deal with it if, heaven forbid, it does happen. But hopefully it will not happen.
Hopefully not. Yes. Yeah, we're gonna. I mean, we are prepared to fight as long as we can. I'm on the board of directors for Mass Access. It's a advocacy group that represents over 200 of the stations across the state. So we're working, really hard to figure out the next step, the solution, and to really kind of focus on the legality of it, and then, fight it in court.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about the legality. So it may not actually be.
Well, the FCC is trying to legislate, which that's not what their purpose is. I mean, you leave that up to Congress. So why are they trying to stick their nose in this? I mean, I know reasons that we won't get into today, and certainly not on camera, but
off camera, off camera we will.
Yeah, but so that's this is the way that the act was intended to run, and why change it?
I gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right, is there anything else you want citizens to know who are watching this right now? Or have we covered all the bases?
I think we've covered it all. I mean, I would just say that, we love the town of Milton. We've been here, I've been in this role for 10 years now. I've been volunteering here for over, 20 years or so. So, I mean, I just want residents to really think about the value of public access, what it means to them, and what they would be able to help us with in the future. If they wanted to.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us today. I hope that this clears some things up and makes citizens more aware of, what's going on, because I feel like it's a little confusing.
Yeah.
So it was great to kind of get a handle on it today. And people can certainly get in touch with you as well.
Yep. We'll put all of our contact information on the screen for you. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, or if it's still unclear and you need some clarification, feel free to contact me. I've talked about it so much now that it's embedded. Yeah, so I'm pretty good.
All right. Well, thank you again. Thank you to the folks at the Ashmont Grill for letting us film here. And any questions, get in touch with Milton Access TV.